digital world. Ignite the spark, make it bold, make it last. The future's here, it's coming fast. Rad is yours, so claim it now. No looking back, let's show them how.
Good morning, Kings. I cannot tell you, I straight up lost sleep last night. I went to bed early thinking we're going to have a great space in the morning. I have been excited to talk to y'all since last year. I was looking forward to this last year. I'm looking forward to it now. Good morning, King Sway, King Nem. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. What's up?
Good to see y'all.
Thanks for being here, man. You know what? If I can get my wife to call me King Sway, man, I'll be a happy man.
Hey, we just gotta hit her with the right energy. Let her know what it's about out here.
I'm just gonna send her this recording, the space,
Amen.
and it doesn't sound that bad. I kind of like it. Keep it up.
Thank you, Ben, for joining us. Hi, Dan.
No, I love your energy. I love every time you speak to us, like you just bring that king energy, which I absolutely love. So I appreciate the love.
Amen. I really love life, and I'm as authentic as can be. It's hard to fake this corniness. This is a level of corniness that is as high up as you can get. So it's, I really am grateful for my life, and I'm very excited to talk with you today. It's not a joke. So I don't really know where to start. We're going to start with Nem because he is on a little time crunch. So, dive in. Nem is a multidisciplinary filmmaker. He's been making some of the best stuff in the AI space since I started paying attention and started seeing what was going on and really started to sink our heels into the AI space of, this is going nowhere. This is the future and we're here for it. He's been working in animation, creative technology. He was born in Chicago and he's been in LA for some time. King Nem, if you could tell us a little bit about your early days and maybe a little bit about your creative journey before as we know you today.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. Before, this whole AI thing took off, I was and still am a traditional filmmaker. So I started in Chicago doing a lot of music videos for, at the time, they were like my friends, homies from Chicago. And I was
What year is this, if you don't mind sharing? I'm sorry to dox your age, but I have a lot of friends from Chicago. I'm friends with the Kanye camp, so like the Killhoffers and all those guys. I'm friends with those cats.
Yeah. So I actually worked with Virgil Abloh at Our TV Gallery and Super Fun Party. This was back in, I want to say like maybe 2010, 2007-ish, around that time. So yeah, close to 20 years ago, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, started in like the, indie hip hop scene in Chicago. I got to direct music videos for Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa.
Amazing. Awesome.
Like I said, worked with Virgil Abloh, knew people from Kanye's camp. And basically from there, Hit Boy, if anyone's familiar with Hit Boy.
Everybody is, whether they know it or not, they are.
Yeah, he produced, he multi-Grammy award-winning producer, produced N-Words in Paris for Kanye and a bunch of Beyonce tracks. And he saw my work, hit me up, and he's like, yo, like, I think your stuff is dope, and I think you should move to LA and work with me. So I worked for Hit Boy for a couple of years. I directed a video for him featuring Nipsey Hussle and a bunch of other stuff. And fun fact, actually, a video that I directed for Hit Boy's group, Audio Push, was the third video to premiere on Diddy's Revolt network. So it was like Tupac, Biggie, and then my Audio Push video because they loved it so much. It was basically a remake of the movie Friday. If anyone's interested, the video is called Audio Push Shine. But yeah, that's sort of like my early days. At the same time, while I was doing all this stuff, I was working in advertising as a creative technologist. So at the age of 17, I got a job at Leo Burnett as a creative technologist. Another fun fact, I grew up in a lower income immigrant family household, didn't really get a chance to go to college. So I kind of, lucky for me, I knew how to develop code at an early age, and that's what got me in a door at these advertising agencies. So been in the ad space for well over 20 years, and came out to LA. Still did music videos, commercials. The last gig, like actual job I worked at, was at Snapchat before starting my own production company about 4 or 5 years ago now, where I produced and directed over a dozen commercials for Disney. Disney was like my main client. They still are. I'm still doing a lot of work for them. And yeah, I have done a lot of commercial work for Disney, Walmart. And actually, that's how I met Sway. So I was directing a commercial in Miami for a wireless company, and I casted Sway as my lead, and that's how me and Sway met. So fun fact there too.
Wow, that is. So after I got Sway's background, I was going to ask how you guys ended up meeting, but that is so fun. So it was just like a random opportunity, and he put in a call to come to an open audition or something. Sway, feel free to jump in, King, too.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, that gig is so memorable. Number one, it was like it was a big project. At least for me, it was a big paying project as well. So I was really excited. But what really stood out was how the audition happened, the callback, and I wasn't expecting the callback to be so sudden. And when I did the callback with Nem, I was actually at Disney. Nem wasn't there, but I was at Disney there with my family. Just, I believe it was Animal Kingdom, and I thought I timed it all well. But being with 3 kids out there in a theme park, it was hot. It was July, I think. It was just crazy. I was running against time, running to the parking lot because it was really the only quiet place I could find. Parked really far, and finally made it to my vehicle. Did the call back. Nem was on the call. I don't know if he remembers, but
yeah, you were in your car. You did the whole audition from your car.
Did the whole audition in the car, and the callback took a little bit longer than expected, to the point where my phone overheated, and the call dropped. My phone died, and I had to wait for like 2 minutes. I'm like, oh man, I definitely bombed this thing, and managed to get the phone working. Got into Zoom again, and we made it happen. I don't know what Nem saw, but he saw something, and it was just destiny,
Amen. Absolutely. This is an incredible story. This is so awesome that you guys met this way.
Disney is all over this. And the reason why I say that is because that's kind of how I got started in the game. I was heavy into like martial arts when I was at the age of like 12, 13, 15. And I was at the dojo one time at the age of 15, and some random producer walked in. I've never told the story. Some random producer walked in and be like, hey, I need a dude for this Tarzan commercial. At the time, Tarzan, it was like huge, the animation. And that he needed to do like a Latin. I was living in Miami at the time. I've been living in Miami for 30 plus years. So born in LA, raised in Miami. And so I'm in this dojo in Miami. Producer comes in and he scouts me practically. He's like, hey, dude, I was like, do you have, do you want to do this commercial? I'm going to pay you like $50. You're going to be in the Tarzan commercial, and it's going to like screen somewhere in like Brazil and Latin America. I'm like, okay, cool. So like Miami's like the spot for like Latin America, for anything Latin America. So that was a crazy experience. We ended up shooting at the rooftop of the Disney office headquarters in Miami, in Coral Gables. That was just like a surreal experience. Never done acting in my life. Actually, I have. I took some acting classes in high school, but never really put 2 and 2 together. Never thought I was going to get the opportunity because I never really actively pursued it. So it came to me. And ever since then, I just got the acting bug and did a bunch of short films with friends, and I started dabbling with the technology as well. So I'm multifaceted myself, do production, shoot, edit, some dabble with animation, acting, the whole works. And that just stems from like living in Miami. You're not surrounded by a large industry, so you have to create your own opportunities. And, when something like AI comes in, it fits so naturally with who I am. It was like, oh, great. I could do everything I've done just with a lot less effort, more efficiently. So back in Miami. I went to film school, but I was kind of a late bloomer to it because, I really kind of piggyback ride what Nem was saying. I was also too born in a low income home. Um, I end up going to college. And the college in Miami is really, really affordable. Like you can go to college, like you could do a whole bachelor's just on financial aid, you know. And if you're low income, you could basically not pay a dime for school. School is really cheap. That college, at least. So I ended up doing film school there, but only after being lost. Right, I was like studying finance, studying accounting, and all sorts. I just went back and forth with so many like different concentrations and degrees that I was practically lost. And it wasn't until my mid 20s where I realized, like, you know what, I'm just going to lean on what I'm actually good at, which is my creativity. I'm a musician as well. I'm a drummer. Um, I've been drumming for years. And I first started off studying music production, and then I realized, you know what, it really didn't excite me as much. So then I kind of turned into like film, did my whole bachelor's in film, and they had a wonderful course in Miami. It was just they covered so many, from like, compositing, screenwriting to shooting for TV and film, and by the time I got in, film itself, film stock was already out. The Canon 5Ds were coming in, the early Black Magics were coming in, so started dabbling with that. Even Avid was out at the time. Managed to get like play with Avid a little bit until like Premiere took over. And at that time, it was just so crazy. It was so crazy getting into like film school at that time. Like Final Cut was dying because they switched into the new Final Cut. And between film school, I also started like reigniting my passion for acting as well. So I ended up getting some representation, did a lot of commercial work, hence, leading me to working with Nem. And fast forward, after a lot of projects, working in a lot of production companies, doing a lot of like the grunt work, because to survive, I was just like doing all sorts of like second shooter, do you know how to edit and also do motion graphics and graphic design, and like, yeah, did all of that.
Yeah, for free.
And,
yeah, whatever.
For free. Yeah, so it's like, which is why I'm able. I mean, thanks to all
Can you
that
bring lunch?
experience,
Yeah.
I'm able to do what I do now. But and yeah, so the project. Yeah.
Amen. Everybody tuning in right now, you just got done listening to Sway Molina, giving a little bit of background on himself. He's a video artist and an actor. He makes incredible videos. If you're not following him on X, you got to go follow him. Hit follow right now on both him and Sway. Also follow that T2 Remake account. We got Sway, who just spoke. I think he's, both of these guys have produced what I would consider maybe the boldest production in AI film to date that we have seen, and they have more on deck. Nem just gave a little intro on himself, and also creative technology filmmaker, making music videos. He gave an awesome story about who he's been working with in Chicago early, and then his first ventures into LA. So I would love to know, Nem, when did you pick up your first camera and know, like, I'm using a camera for the rest of my life. This is what I do. I'm locked in. When was that moment for you?
I mean, I was born with a camera. What do you mean? Like, I came out of the womb, I had a camera in my hand.
Amen. Right. Well, even in your eyes. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
No, honestly, you know what really inspired me growing up? First off, Star Wars. I remember very vividly as a very young kid seeing Star Wars and just being like mesmerized by the world building. So Star Wars had a huge impact on me, and I think a lot of filmmakers can relate to that. But really, what kind of did it for me was the early days of music videos, like the Spike Jonze, Michel Gondry, like all those early music videos, like really had a big impact on me. And that's kind of when like I started looking at music videos and then like picking up a camera myself and started shooting with my friends, like I would shoot them skating or like, riding bikes or like breakdancing or whatever. And that's kind of what started it all for me. And from there, I started doing, like little commercials for my friends, like t-shirt companies. A good buddy of mine, I'm going to shout him out, Brandon Bro. Me and him used to collaborate like a bunch early in the Chicago days. And he he's now famous for doing all the Chance the Rapper album artwork. If you've seen those, like the
Some
purple,
of the best ever. Yeah.
yeah.
Acid
So
raps, whatever. Yeah.
exactly, Acid Rap. He did all the album artwork for that. So Brandon was a huge collaborator in the early days of Chicago, and that's what led to me working with Chance and Vic Mensa and that whole crew. But no, I mean, like early, like I started doing a lot of this stuff in high school, and that's actually where I got the name Nem. You know, I'm not sure if anyone knows, not my real name. It actually started like when I was in high school. I used to do a lot of like web stuff, hacker stuff. You know, I was like the tech nerd. You know, and that's kind of Nem came from at the time. My web design company was Nemesis, and so everyone just sort of called me Nem. So that's kind of where that started. So definitely high school was where it all started for me.
Very cool. How about you, Sway? So you had you kind of the acting bug a little bit early. It seems like you took a class in high school. That's earlier than most people, I would say. So you were kind of interested. Yeah. When did you really like, all right, this is what I'm doing? And like, what was your first outreach? The first inbound to you was karate class, inbound guy off the street. What was your first outbound of like, I'm going to go get this?
Oh, man, I promise if you pay attention to everything I say, everything will make sense. You can connect the dots. My parents weren't really much of taking us to go watch movies because that was just expensive, right? So, and the same goes with like buying movies, right? Like I watched whatever was on TV, and the only movies really that I had in hand were either like stuff that I recorded on the VHS, but the legit movies that I've had were like TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and E.T. And I will watch those movies over and over and over and over. And I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so much that I want to become a ninja myself.
Amen.
And that's still to this day. And I'm still looking for that serum, you know, that can mutate me into something awesome. Yeah, which led me to karate, and it was just like movies like E.T. and anything Steven Spielberg related. It's just like the magic, right, of storytelling and how really good storytelling captivates you. And I was very more into not necessarily the visuals, but more like the emotional aspect of movie making, and also the aesthetics of it. And I was always enamored by like. And I was pretty naive at the time because I was always angry of how I wasn't able to really reproduce the movie look with my cheap camera. And so that led me into like, okay, how is this really done? And then I discovered, you know, super late, like, oh, there's a thing called film. I'm like, oh, this is why grain and celluloid. Okay, now I get it. And when I started film school, and again, really late in my mid-20s. That's when everything started clicking and started to make sense. And it was like every single experience that I've had in life kind of like came together. And high school was really, for me, the moment that really shaped my creativity, because I was involved in music, jazz band. I was part of the marching band.
What did you play?
I was a drummer. So
I
was on the drum line, played the snare. Yeah. So, you know, that time we did we did Zorro, we did James Bond. So that was pretty fun. Did acting as well, and a little bit of Gerald to see. So it was always a balance, striking balance between like discipline and creativity, and that really shaped me. So yeah.
Really
yeah.
seems. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it just seems like you both have such a serendipitous relationship, and I wonder if that has developed from the first moment that you guys were on the call together. Of weird that you're at Disney with your family, getting a gig from a producer that's been working at Disney, and like you're having a magical moment with your family. You're locked in of like the views of heaven. You know, you got your babies, your queen, whatever, looking around, phone rings, panic mode. And nothing matters. We got to pay for the trip now. And your phone dies. You got Nem on the phone. You guys get a gig. So you guys first meet on your first day of a shoot. Did you guys have readings or screenings before that? What was your first in-person encounter? Was it vibes from the moment you met each other?
Yeah, we did a reading for the script, and I think the shoot was about a week long. I think we did 2 days of shooting, if I remember correctly. And
Is this Miami, Orlando? You're in Orlando? Where you guys?
in Miami, yeah, I think in Coral Gables, and we worked on the commercial for about a week, if I remember correctly.
As a matter of fact, let me correct Nem. The shoot actually took place in Brickell, and the reason why I want to mention that is because more downtown area, where we actually shot Nem years ago when I was a kid. That used to be a shopping mall. It used to be called the Omni Mall, way back, long time ago in the 90s. And that actually was that building that we were in was the first building I ever went to to see a movie for the first time. So that's pretty wild.
It's so weird.
It just clicked. It just clicked.
Cool.
That's incredible. That is weird. So, you guys met together. What year is this when you guys met? How long have you guys known each other now, if you don't mind sharing? I'm sorry to keep doxing your guys' age.
I don't know. What was that, like 5 years ago or something, Sway? Or?
Yeah, something like that, 3-4 years ago. Everything's a blur now.
Right.
I know it was post-pandemic.
Yeah.
that's all I know.
Yeah, since then it's just been 1 year, right? It was just
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
we're still in the
hard to know.
post-pandemic year. So you guys, we got about 35 minutes left with Nem. Nem's got about an hour for us today, and I would want to dive in to everything T2. So, I would love to get both of your initial. Where did you both, and whoever wants to go first, where did you both first hear about AI and it kind of spark interest? And what was your aha moment? Holy cow, I've got to use these tools. And feel free, whoever wants to go.
I mean, for me, it was Midjourney. For me, I started using Midjourney even before ChatGPT, and immediately I saw it as a tool for filmmaking. Like right away, I was like, wow, I can do previs, or I can do concept art. This was like when it was like Midjourney V3, maybe V4, super early days. And it immediately clicked, and I started doing a lot of concept art and storyboards using Midjourney. So for me, it was Midjourney in Midjourney V3.
You were also in a pretty unique position, I think, because you're coming from music videos in the era where budgets for music videos weren't really at what they were 10 years prior, not even 10, 20 years prior, weren't even close. So you're probably looking at this as like, holy cow, I can do so much with so little and still charge my same rate. Is that your initial thought here? Is like, I can do way more?
Yeah, at that point, the video models hadn't come out yet, so it was really more a lot of still images. But what I did was, I think it was when V4 came out, I created a story just through like beat sheets or like storyboards. And for me, it was a real breakthrough moment because I had this idea for this epic science fiction movie for like as long as I can remember. Stories called The Time Traveler's Dilemma, and I had made these initial images for that story, and it was really just like refreshing to like get that out of my head and then like actually visualize it. It was like so cathartic to actually do that, and I think like a lot of AI people can relate, where it's like you have this creative release, after you have the ability to create these things that couple of years ago would have cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And so for me, I saw it as a way to finally get this vision out that, let's be realistic. Like no one's going to give me like $300 million to create an epic blockbuster science fiction movie. And now with these tools, you could actually do that. So for me, it was like Midjourney and then Runway, both when Runway's video model came out literally on day one, I turned those Midjourney V4 images into a trailer. And fun fact, I was actually like one of the first people to be on Runway's creative partnership programs, even before they announced it, because of that trailer.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. How about you, Sway?
Well, when I discovered AI, that was actually the moment that Nem and I reconnected again after a couple of months or maybe a few years after the commercial, because I was witnessing Nem doing all this magic with AI. Mickey Mouse, right? Fantasia. Just man, he was just going all over the place with this, and I saw the magic and the power and the things that how you can visualize, conceptualize using, the early Mid Journey at the time, and again, I'm a late bloomer to most things, and I was like, okay, how do you do this? Where do I research? Who do I ask? And he was my go-to guy. So I, reached out to Nem, and I'm like via Instagram, I'm like, hey Nem, what's up? It's me, Sway. Remember? We worked on this commercial together. Dude, I see you doing all this crazy stuff. What is it? Then he pointed me to Mid Journey and that time, and I think still to this day, when you go to the Mid Journey website, it had that like blue matrix thing going. So that really threw me off. I'm like, what the hell am I getting into? Like, what is this? And what is Discord? Like, what? And then I knew I had another job to do. Like, I have to master this. I had to master. This is when my karate discipline comes in. Like, I have to master Discord, master Mid Journey, and started diving into those worlds really with no objective. Right, there wasn't no objective. Like, oh, let me storyboard or mood board a film, and like I was still thinking a little bit more traditional at the time. I was like, okay, I need to have a script and have an outline first and stuff. So I saw the power there, and I'm a goofball. I'm pretty silly, so I just started generating like wacky stuff using Midjourney, really pushing the limits to it, and which at the time, AI still to this day, but it had a uniqueness to it, and it served my intentions well. And then from there it was just like, all right, discovered, started messing around with Pika Labs and then Runway and and since this is pretty early, we're talking 2-3 years ago, most of these companies were very, very less resistant to accepting you and showcasing you and getting retweeted left and right and growing my X presence, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, that's and it was all downhill from there. I started experimenting with every tool under the sun.
You kings are just getting started. I don't know what you guys are looking at as a ceiling. Nem just said nobody's going to give me 300 million. I'm thinking, just wait, my king. A lot of things are coming your guys' way, and I'll kick this off. So, this is the reason we're speaking today is largely, the T2 thing blew us away at Rad. It was absolute showstopper at Rad. We came across the project. We started thinking about what this meant. We started having conversations internally about copyrights and what the future of AI video looked like. And it brought up so many things to the surface in the industry of entertainment across the board. I don't know if anything that I've seen in my life has caused such a conversational stir. And we started to dive in, started to follow the creators on the website, started to check out what you guys were doing. And every person that we engaged with was incredible. Their energy was off the charts. They were so respectful. They were so kind. They were so giving. And this is still to this day. You guys posted a tweet yesterday. If you guys haven't checked it out, please go to the T2 Remake is here in the chat. Go to their feed. Go to the thread that they put together. They're waving to you, and I'll bring them up as a speaker just so they can be on stage if anybody wants to. If you guys want to accept the invite, but they listed all the artists. Go there and follow those artists. If you are not connected with those people, they will be assets to you. And so that being said, how in the world did you guys come up with this idea? Let's just start there. Where did this idea come from of like, how did you pick T2 and you're like, this is what we're doing? And I have 100 other questions so let's just start there. How did you guys decide on T2? And it is such a cultural phenomenon from our childhood. It seems like it was probably a big movie in both of your guys' childhoods. What made you choose that movie? And I would love to hear anything else leading up to that decision process.
Yeah, definitely. So first off, I really wanted to get to this topic because I want to talk about T2. I want to talk about all the amazing creators and just the enormous amount of talent that we were able to get on this project. And like just looking back at it 1 year ago, like how much has happened within this space. And so much has happened just within the T2 fam, like just with the T2 artists. So first off, the reason why I came, like we came across it, the reason why we decided to do Terminator 2 during the time of this whole conception, it was during the writer's strike. And there was a lot of just end of world discussions happening in regards to AI, right? I would go to a panel and the speaker would be like, well, this is going to be the next Skynet and the world's going to end and we're all going to lose our jobs. And mind you, this was during the writer's strike and I live in Hollywood, so I was like in the heart of it, really feeling down and afraid. But on the flip side, what I saw in the community, in the AI community, was just this flourishing community of really just some of the best filmmakers ever, just wanting an opportunity to create, wanting an opportunity to get their stories out, just like me when I had created my trailer for the science fiction movie that I mentioned earlier. So I thought, what better way to send a message out to Hollywood that AI is not going to destroy the world like it did in T2, but it's actually going to empower all of us as creators. And now look back a year ago and look at how empowered we all are in creating, I lost count how many T2 artists now have development deals to do films, like it's pretty incredible. I knew that these were like some of the best AI artists in the world, but like this really just confirms what I believed back then. And mind you, I was actually really hesitant and really scared. Sway can attest to this. Like me and him, like we were legitimately scared to work on this movie because of the potential backlash that it could have caused, right? We consulted with like 3 lawyers. Remember that, Sway?
Yeah.
And then me and Sway had a real serious conversation of like, look, if we're going to do this, we are going to commit 100%. Like whatever happens, me and you, like just steer the ship, good or bad, right? Like means like, remember that, Sway? Like I had this conversation and we're like, yo, like whatever happens, we have to be fully, and we have to believe in this and we have to be committed because honestly, I really do think that AI is the future of filmmaking. And I really do think that AI can empower the next phase of filmmaking and the next filmmakers just in general. So yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel. And again, I'm just so happy with just all the just tremendous accomplishments. Excuse me, the accomplishments that all the filmmakers have done since the release of this movie. So I'm excited to be here 1 year later, just celebrating T2.
I want to say before you jump in, Sway, I want to say really, I think from my perspective, I really do credit my coaches and King Tony here for his vision at this company. And it took me a long time to become this person that knew I couldn't do it alone. And that it really is all about like leadership and guidance and coaching and the circle you're with. And I just want to pat you both on the back and say that I think a lot of that energy is coming from the top down. And that you Kings assembling that group, assembling the Discord to guide that energy has more impact than you guys know. So I just want to say that before you continue. Please, Sway, give your thoughts. I just wanted to give you guys some flowers there. You guys have killed it.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. And yeah, I do remember a year ago, we were expressing our concerns to you, before we premiered. And because we did give Rad TV like a 30-day exclusivity to the film. And we were thankful for that. And yeah, it was a huge risk. I was like getting all my financial assets ready to move to Mexico,
He was bailing. Oh, that's funny.
That part is not true. The rest is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were excited. What really excited me about this is this was an idea that really came from Nem, and he proposed it to me, and I was just thrilled about it. And he says something of the likes of like, if not us, then someone else will. I'm like, yeah, let's be the first ones, because this is the kind of world that we live in. The Web3 AI is like you know the risk that you take as an early adopter. You have to get there first. You have to be the first ones making noise. And we got lucky. There's no way we could have planned this. And I really find this hard for someone to reproduce and do again, if not us, because it was just a special moment when all of this was happening. And I consider ourselves lucky having being surrounded by the caliber of artists and just seeing where they are today, the positions and the roles that they're serving now and the companies that they're working for and the things that they've sold. And it's insane, really. We was so much so we created a list, really just like giving them flowers, and just like it humbles me, honestly. And it's really in my nature also to like help others, just because I've lived in an industry filled with rejection. Acting, you're constantly getting rejected. Same goes with your if you're directing and doing commercials. It's like yes to you, no to you, yes to the other guy. So it's like is a constant hustle and a constant hustle. And sometimes you're in a position when you get more rejection than actual wins. So like I've set myself in a position where like if I'm able to give back at any chance, I will. And I've done so not only with T2, but in many other projects. And it just brings me joy to just bring the best of the best. Um, and yeah, like Nem said, it's like we had to do it. And it was, and another thing that really motivated me was like the messaging of the movie itself, and how it reflected the times of like AI technology in film and art. And the hostility really like fired me up. Just the hostility, especially coming from the film and art creative community. I'm like, what? Like, how can you? And I get it. I get why. But the extreme, right? So, and the reason why I say that is because it goes so much, and I've said this in other spaces, it reflects so much of what the movie is all about, which is like the messaging is don't become what you hate, which is what Sarah Connor became. She's essentially the Terminator in this film, right? She's the one doing all the shooting and all the chaos. Is not really Arnold. And this is how I felt like those hostile people were doing. Like, you're creating all this chaos. You should embrace the technology or approach it from a different angle. And that was just more reason to just go forward with this project. And we were very happy with the outcome.
It's so crazy you say Sarah Connor's the one doing all the shooting. I really haven't ever thought about that until you just said it. And I'm like, damn, it really was the humans doing it all. So how did you guys, what made you choose T2? And then how did you start your selection process for these artists? Did you start and then was it refer a friend? How did it roll? How did it roll out? Did you have 5 movies on the table, or was this the one?
No, it was always Terminator 2.
Amen.
In terms of outreach, honestly, Sway did so much of that. He's such a wizard when it comes to Discord. So, kudos to Sway for, reaching out to all of these artists. I don't know, Sway, do you want to I'm not going to speak for you, but do you want to speak on that a little bit and how you reached out to some of these folks?
Yeah, well, it was an open call. I was already, like I said it before, when I got into Midjourney and Discord, and finally really enjoying Twitter because of this technology. I started tapping into little villages and communities and tribes of people, like-minded people doing the same thing. And it was such a fun time. People were doing contests, sharing each other's prompts, and really challenging each other, and resharing each other's work, and encouraging each other. And just it was a very supportive community. Right now it's a bit more fragmented. It's not the same, but it's not bad either. It's just not the same. It was just a different time. And that led me to really, along with Nem, curate. And after doing the open call and receiving all these submissions, we curated and hand selected, the people that we thought will fit. And the requirements were, one, you had to know how to story tell and do narrative editing, and have a knack for comedy, and know the tools, and then really understand the project and commit. And thankfully, we really never had any pushback. We really never had any problems with people not committing or not really, serving the role that they had. And what we did with Discord is, once we had everyone lined up, we simply had divided the Discord into several channels. Each artist had their dedicated channel as which pertained to the scene that they were working on. We had ritually, we had video calls, just to make sure that the vision, everyone was serving the vision, serving the story, and that we were all on the same page as far as deadlines and what we're going to do with this project and where's it going. And yeah, so Discord was a place where we were managing and doing all the post production, and it was a very collaborative experience because it was a place where people will come in, show the stuff that they're working on, the experimental phase, final stuff, the edits, and edit version 1, version 2, version 3, and since this whole project was done sequentially, so what we practically did is we took the film, split it into 50 scenes, and then assigned those scenes to the artist. The artist knew the scene that was the artist that was taking the scene before them and after them. So it was really up to them to really start talking to that person and kind of have that autonomy and the responsibility to do so. So and then what Nem did at the end, he kind of just brought it all together and used his wizardry and animation and editing to make it feel cohesive and as one giant experimental narrative.
You guys absolutely killed it on that project. And you guys talk about the creators committing. Again, I say that's because you all committed so heavily. And we have a clip from Killian Vader, who's a Nigerian creator who you guys worked with on T2, and he told a pretty heartfelt story of he was looking to connect with people. He'd always wanted to be a film director, and it just didn't have the means, being in Nigeria and their internet, their access to technology. He couldn't do it. And then AI comes along. He finally gets to put his hands on some of these tools, bring some ideas to life. And he said he reached out about the T2 thing, filled out a form, or reached out to maybe Nem. And he said he was going to quit if he didn't hear back from you guys. That was the catalyst to him beginning his creative journey, was you guys responding to him. And he said he didn't hear from you guys for a few days, and then Sway reached out and said that he had a scene, and he said it changed his whole life. And he said he started creating, he connected with everybody in the space, and then he made a David Doe music video with AI that was just a fan video, but I just checked it. It's got 125,000 views on YouTube. He's got like 1,200 subscribers, all from that, just this catalyst of you guys committing, you guys reaching out, you guys doing the act, you taking the step. And then you took those steps, and then you just complete the story with, after you guys reached out, all those creators had to take their own steps. They had to then create, then they had to reach out, then they had to coordinate with somebody. So it's like this whole chain reaction that you guys planted this seed that really sparked this growth in the space that I don't think everybody totally knows the whole story on, to how we got to where we are with this community today. And I think it's largely due to this project. So, I just want to give you guys another round of applause. This is a very special project, and you guys changed a lot of lives. You guys changed the industry. You brought a lot of conversations up. What did you learn from the T2 project? What did you guys take away from it that was special, or something that you learned in the process from this that maybe you didn't expect to?
Well, first off, that's a really, really cool story. I didn't know that till you told me. So
I'll post a clip today.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. I've actually been reflecting on this a little bit. There have been really 3 times in my life where I was embraced by a community. The first time was in the early days in Chicago, when I was embraced by this hip hop community. And that's what really started my music video career, in the party scene in Chicago. And a lot of those friends are still friends till this day, forever. And the second time was when I started working at Disney and just being embraced by all these people who just trusted me with this IP and with this just massive, massive company. And the third time was with this AI community. And I think that one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned is make sure that you surround yourself by people who understand you and really appreciate you. And I think that's, for me, one of the lessons that I've taken away from just all of this is community. Finding your people. They say that in filmmaking, one of the most important things is to find your people and work with them. And for me, that's what the T2 Remake is all about, is me and Sway were able to find our people. First off, me and Sway found each other. And then we started to find our people and put them all in a safe space, without judgment, away from the fears of AI. Just create this safe space for all of us just to come together and create something that was bigger, really bigger than all of us, which is the goal of T2 Remake. So for me, I just been reflecting on that so much, and just again, that's what I want. I really wanted to come on here, a year after T2 Remake, and just reflect on. It's pretty incredible how many friendships have emerged, not just from T2, but also from the AI space just in general, and how just like I'm every single day, I'm just like floored by just the enormous talent of every single person that I had the opportunity to work with on T2. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that because I just been thinking about that so much, and that's kind of like one of the greatest, achievements of my life is just bringing this incredible crew together.
Amen. That's awesome that you share that, Nem. And I know you have just a couple minutes left, so Sway, if you don't mind, I'll come back to you on your T2 experience. But I would like to give Nem the opportunity before he has to jet to tell us about what you're working on real quick, King. I know you just released a trailer. Wonderland AI Film, I think, is the handle. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Wonderland AI Film is the handle here on X. You guys are releasing a similar vibed project. It looks like you're recreating Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now? And again, I want to thank you for your time today. I know we only had an hour. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, we're basically me and Sway, after we did T2, we're like, oh man, that was so much work. We're never going to do this again. And what ended up happening is one of the T2, I forget who it was. It might have been Max or someone. One of the T2 artists reached out and were like, hey, when are you guys going to do another one? We would love to work on another one. And at first, I was really hesitant. But a mutual friend, a good friend of mine, Fred Grinstein, approached me and was like, hey, have you ever thought about maybe doing an Alice in Wonderland adaptation? I think it's a really good book that you can adapt and use to recreate it with AI. And that for me was like, wow, you're absolutely right. Like Wonderland is the perfect story to tell, especially in the format, the Exquisite Corpse format that we had pioneered with T2. So that's really what kind of kicked it off. We had like a lot of internal meetings. I know Meta Puppets here. He was part of that initial pitch. We had like this sort of initial pitch where we all kind of pitched our own unique ideas. That didn't really take off, but then this Wonderland thing kind of spawned right after that happened. And then, it just took on a life of its own. So what we're doing is we're making another feature film. It's going to be powered by AI, so it's going to be live action, it's going to be 3D animation, it's going to be traditional animation, and we're approaching it the same way that we did with T2, where we are bringing together 25 amazing, brilliant artists from all over the world to collaborate on this film, similar to how we did with T2. This time, we're taking it to another level. This time, we're incorporating technology which we're calling Cameo Gen, that allows the audience to be in the movie using deepfake. So imagine, if Sway were to buy a VIP ticket to go see the movie, and he bought 4 tickets for his whole family, him and his whole family are now going to be in this movie in a cameo appearance. So we're super excited about that. And what really spawned that idea was, for me, one of the best experiences with T2 was the in-person premiere that we had in Hollywood. Some of the most influential people were at that premiere. The founder of Escape, the founders of Curious Refuge. Dave Clark premiered his short film before the feature film premiered, and it was just the energy in that theater was amazing. So for me, I think that one of the coolest things that we can do is get people back in the real world, IRL, to experience cinema again. But this time, bring that sort of AI flair that we're all familiar with. So I'm super excited. If anyone wants to learn more, it's AIWonderlandFilm.com. There's a trailer on there, and yeah, we're going to release it this summer. Super, super excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. Nem, where can people follow you? Where would you like people to connect with you before you have to leave us?
Yeah, I'm at Nem Perez pretty much everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You can follow T2 Remake at T2Remake.com or T2 Remake here on Twitter. AI Wonderland at AIWonderland.com. So yeah, and I also have Storyblocker. I do a lot of things. Storyblocker is my tech company, which we haven't talked about, but maybe that's for another.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I would love to talk to you for a whole period and Sway as well. So let's just get something on the books, something closer to your next launch, and we'll do this again. And I would love to learn more about your background, and I'm sure people here in our community would as well. So if you're up for it, doors open, King.
Amazing. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time today and all the contributions you've made to this space. I know from my overview perspective here, overlooking the community, you guys have inspired and empowered a lot of creators. And something I tell our team a lot at Rad is likes save lives. People underestimate how much a like or a comment or a repost, what it means to a creator that's looking for some feedback in a day. And you guys empowered a lot of people globally to come together to find their people. And I guarantee it saved some lives. I'm sorry. I know I said at the beginning, it's hard to be this corny, but I swear that's the truth. So it's, it's you guys are doing something really special. So thank you for that, Nem. Sway, sorry to cut you off. Let's go back to our question. What did you learn from the T2 experience? What was your takeaway? Did you learn anything surprising about yourself or the space? Anything that you took away from that?
It was pretty much everything that Nem said. Really, the lesson here is work with people that value you. There will always be like ego, people have their quirks and stuff, but ultimately, do they value, right? Do they hold you up high? Do they appreciate you? And the question you need to ask yourself, and the one that you also need to answer yourself, honestly, is like, am I being used? Am I being used, right? And that just comes from like a personal experience or a personal exercise that I use, and and all the bad experience that I've had, and along with the good, serves and really shapes my leadership and how I approach things and when working with people. And I'm just happy, really. I'm just happy and amazed of the outcome. I knew how I wanted to treat people. I knew how I wanted this thing organized, but I did not expect the appreciation from the community, and I didn't expect how where everyone will be fast forward a year later now. And it's not to say it. I'm not saying it's because of T2. I think between them and I, we really had a good eye in spotting talent, spotting passion. We really didn't care whether you had a track history in the industry or not. We just did you have a passion? Did your vision align with ours when it came to the technology and what we were trying to achieve here? And we were more than happy than giving people the opportunity, because I would be honest, there were some people here who really were pretty green. But along the way, because this was a collaborative experience, I'm pretty sure that the project itself sharpened them as an artist.
Oh, absolutely. I saw it. I mean, I've literally seen, I saw creators that I had already seen in the space that didn't have much work. And I'm like, well, they selected them, but then I see their scene and I'm like, that's really good. So I kind of attribute that to,
you see them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they are is insane.
So I want to ask you guys that. Maybe this will be the last question Nem can weigh in on. I would love to know, just from an industry perspective at the moment, what was the hottest tool at that moment when you guys, a year ago, what was the tool that dominated the conversation, and what is it today? Has it totally shifted? Is it the same thing? What just quick answer of like, what was the absolute hitter then? Were you having to jump around everything? And is it the same today? Is it landscape totally different?
Do you remember, Sway, when we were up on stage and we were like, this is the pre-Sora film?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this film happened before Sora. It happened before Luma. It happened before a lot of that. Gen 3, it was before Gen 3. So this is like early AI stuff. I think we were all using Runway and Midjourney at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, we were working with Korea, I believe, and Pika. They were kind enough to give us an open channel or private channel and some credits to the users who wanted to use their tool. Traxy and a bunch of other gen tools for audio and imaging. But really the tool that we that was really like the standard in the production, I would say, would be Midjourney. And now you have more options, right? Now you have Flux and Stable Diffusion and you have more options. You definitely have more options. Well, it's really crazy, and I want to mention it before I forget, because mind you, this was a year ago, so there's a lot that we didn't mention. Two things actually. One, and I think Nem briefly mentioned it for his project, but we were using people from all over the world. This just wasn't in the U.S., so that's mind blowing that we were able to do that. So I remember Nem like really trying to like puzzle like the best time zone like to meet with as many people as possible.
That doesn't work.
And it was like we found that like 10 a.m. was probably like the best, and like now I use 10 a.m. for everything, which is why this call was done at 10 a.m. So and another thing is like we were so afraid, and we mentioned that we were so afraid of like how James Cameron will react to this film. We were like, is he gonna walk in the theater, or is he gonna send his lawyer? Is Arnold gonna come in?
Yeah, you guys are showing up just to get served at the premiere.
Exactly. But like fast forward a couple of months now, James Cameron is part of the board for Stability AI.
Let's go!
Which is wild, right?
So
and
he's definitely seen
it. The movie was the reason.
Of course it was. I mean, that's obviously the reason why. So, I would be curious to know. I know Nem's going to dip. He already jumped down, but I would love to know from you, Sway. So thank you for joining us, King Nem. If there was any tool that you saw now, or tool that you wish you had from that production, like during that time, were you seeing like a gap of like, man, I wish we had this one thing that made our production or this type of production easier? Because it kind of seems that you are not the first, because this all started with COVID. COVID kind of shut down all the studios. At least when I was in LA, I lived in LA for 14 years, 07 to 21. And when the studios got shut down for us, I mean, it was really, we'll just send the file, and things kind of shifted to where I was doing the same work I would be doing just from home, and not at the same console, or, not on the same headphones, or not in the same sound room. And that wasn't too detrimental, because I'd always worked in places like that. But you guys are really doing that with film is so different, especially with the AI tools. Maybe, I don't have the traditional film background, and I don't know how drastically it shifted post-COVID, but I assume a lot of people were doing most of that work from home instead of studios. Was there anything that you guys wished that existed then? Maybe it does exist now, maybe it still doesn't exist, a gap in the tools that would have made that production easier for you?
Well, we knew the production was going to be challenging because of the nature of what we wanted to do with the film. I mean, the intention of the movie wasn't to disrupt Hollywood. It obviously didn't, but it was to showcase what the tools can do at the time. So that's why we call our movie like a time vault, right? That's the worst AI could get at that time, or that's what AI art tools were at that time. And the objective was to bring in these handful, almost 50 plus creators, and just showcase what all the tools, because there's so many now, it's hard to use them all. And it's not wise to stick to one. You have to use them all, because the dust hasn't settled yet, right? one video model comes out this week, another video model comes out next week, so on and so on. One is a game changer, and the other one is a game changer. They're all game changers. So, but that's exactly what we wanted to do with the film. We really didn't want to stick to like, okay, guys, we're gonna do 50 scenes, or we're only stick to Mid Journey and Sora, whatever, you know. So we were open to that. We were open to the madness. We knew that at the end this was going to be highly experimental. We knew that we were going to lack character consistency, which you can achieve a lot better now, you know, with almost every single video model. But to answer your question, using going back to how we managed the whole production, using Discord was, I don't know if Discord was made for what we did, but we definitely molded and shaped it that way. But if there's a tool out there that's like Discord meets Slack meets Google Drive, and it's just one place where you can do production management, and that will be fascinating. That'll be fascinating, in a place where that won't be overwhelming to visit and handle, and where you can collaborate in. I think a tool like that is still missing. If this were to happen again, if this becomes a thing where 10, 30 plus creators come together to make a film and have it connected to the blockchain, that's something that we wanted to do with T2, figure it out, but we never did. The closest was, you know, Rad TV and having the film on a chain subscription. But really, on the next project, it would have been it would be great to figure out, you know, a better production management tool, and also have it already on chain. And but by the time the movie screens, you know, everyone gets paid out, full transparency, and yeah, I think that to me is more important than, you know, the tool that we need today.
We agree. I mean, that's, you know, we've built the tool set of distribute a video and pay your whole team. And when it comes time to distribute you guys' next work, we would love to sit down and, you know, go through those steps with you guys, or even just, you know, do it for you if that's what it takes from that level of production. You know, if we're just going to be putting it up, happy to have those conversations whenever you guys are ready. So do you think these types of productions are the future? Are these cultural phenomenon, person from every country coming together to work all over the world? Is that the future of production, or at least a section of it?
I don't think it's caught on yet. I don't think people I don't think it's a shiny object kind of project that people will like gravitate to say like, hey, let me round up a group of creators. I mean, we're still in the creative community where there's a lot of ego involved. People just want to do their own thing, just stick to their own thing, or do stuff with their partner, or just hire people to do whatever they want. But we're seeing it. We see Hollywood trying to do it, right? I forget the name of the director, but the writer for, I believe it was like Dark Knight and stuff, what he just announced, like his project on blockchain. So like to world build along with him using his IP. And if that catches on, I think people will get it.
Let's talk copyrights for a second. And I think this is a big moment in that part of the conversation around T2. And you guys just flat out said, we were thinking James Cameron might show up at the premiere and with his attorneys or sue us or whatever it is. So what type of conversations were you guys having as you were diving into this? What fears were in place? What were attorneys telling you? Were all of those fears, were any of them justified as of today, looking back? Or was it pretty straightforward, clear path for you guys? I would love to hear anything you can add there.
After what Nem said, after having a conversation with 3 different lawyers and them advising us to be very like walk on eggshells, this is a very, very gray territory. We had no choice but to lean on the parody side of the film, and assuming that, you know, we'll be safe because of fair use, and we just had to like run with that and cross our fingers and be like, okay, we did as much prevention as possible. I think we even went as far as well, one of the things we wanted to make sure, like we made absolutely no money from this film. We did charge for the premiere because we had to cover the cost for the theater in LA. And it did, and it covered for any like marketing stuff, and we broke even. And but we even went as far as turning this production into a nonprofit, to show like this is
You actually
really,
set up a 501 and everything?
yeah, we
Wow.
did.
Wow.
We
Wow.
did. Just to cover, CYA and to show the people that this is not a cash grab.
We're not
opportunity.
joking. This is for real. Yeah,
like,
heart's in the right place.
We're just artists really trying to like bridge the gap between art and tech and really push the boundaries of the technology and go as far as we can to the point of making, turning this AI into like a physical experience.
Incredible. And so you guys really no pushback at all. The fear and the groundwork that you did pre-production.
No legal pushback.
Was good. Yeah.
No legal pushback at all. The only, hostility we got was like on X and like the comments on, articles that, from the features that we got in Forbes or IndieWire, and but
there had to be some hate. Where did any hate come in? Where was the hate?
All over the place, and on the comment threads and the YouTubes and like everywhere. And you grow numb to that thing, and whatever, you don't care. At first, you're like, any project, like you start reading it, but then it just doesn't phase you anymore.
Right. So, what's the vibe like right now? Talking about the hate. What's the vibe in LA production right now in the world? Are you currently in LA now?
I'm not in LA.
Okay.
No. I'm in the East Coast.
Okay.
And not really.
Oh, you went LA, Miami. Okay. Yeah. You were born in LA. When did you leave LA?
Oh God. So my parents left LA when I was 5, so I had no choice.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to rent my own apartment, but they didn't let me.
Mm-hmm.
And
at 5? Pretty expensive.
At 5, right?
Yeah. Taxes.
And I left when I was 5, raised in Miami. I've been there for 30 plus years.
Very cool. So, I mean, you guys have a pretty good film scene there, and you're pretty well connected. What is your vibe that you're getting of the, I guess, the sentiment around AI? Has it changed in the last year from where it was, or is it still pretty pissy?
I think it's the climate is changing. The tools are being embraced and somewhat regulated. I think the studios are trying to approach this ethically and trying to do it the right way. Still, I think the conversation is still kept like under covers and not blatantly, companies are not really putting out there that they're using AI or using it to make their work more efficient or any way. But at least from my experience, like I'm starting to get, and I'm still acting. I'm getting more.
That's why I want to know, because you're in a pretty unique position as an actor to be on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, I've done client work where I'm using, like, I don't hire a voiceover artist. Sometimes I'm the voiceover artist and I use, tools like 11 Labs just to change my voice to someone else's.
Even when they are Meta Puppets using it in real production. He's here in the space. He's using it at work. Yeah.
Correct. Especially if I'm happy with my own like intonation and the way that I'm delivering the lines. But, of course, it's a threat to people's jobs. But, then again, these are not people that you want to work with to begin with, because, again, they won't value you.
Yeah.
So
calculators were a threat to mathematicians.
When
it's the fun one.
Right. When we launched this project, we were at the time where we were at the writer strikes. The actors were striking. There was a SAG strikes. So I wasn't getting any work, which gave me more time to concentrate on the tools. And then now it's a different time, and I think things are balancing out. The tools are becoming more mainstream, and everyone can see now. Like, you can generate an image on your Instagram, on your message app. You can, like on TikTok and all these things. So people are like growing into the technology. And now I have friends who have never touched video in their life wanting to like do their own animation and stuff. So Really the focus here is not really like, oh, do I need to pick up Python and learn? Like, no, it's like now you need to focus on story and really like leaning in on your unique voice, because that's really the only thing that will help you stand out.
Are you worried as an actor that you're going to lose work? And I saw in one of my group chats, I got a message the other day that said, turn your face and voice into IP for this company and be paid $200,000 one-time fee. And, there's 10 people in our chat, and some people are like, damn, 200,000, that's a quick 2.5 Bitcoin, and we could just sit pretty for the next while. And it's like, man, you say that, but then the next thing you're on herpes commercials forever or some other medication. I don't even know. I'm just making up some joke. But like, is that a real concern, or do you feel like there could be even a portal where you could just like submit yourself to these types of gigs or something? Like, is this a real concern that you're going to lose your position as an actor? I just feel like that can't be serious at the moment, is it?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm pretty sure someone out there is trying to figure out a platform where you can license your likeness to companies out there, very similar how you can license, stock videos
Right.
and audio files and I think those things, I think what people don't see, that there's like a whole new genre, right? This AI, you have to see it not only as a technology, not only as a means to an end, but also as a genre in itself. I mean, for those who've been doing this for a long time, can easily spot out, kind of like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, right? Him pointing. It was like, that was done in AI. That was done in AI. And people are smart. I'm sure, deep fake could fool people and stuff. But a fully AI generated scene, I mean, it's still difficult we're getting close, very close
yeah.
to fool the people. But I really don't think people should worry them.
I don't either. I feel like it's just another tool set, and watching the audio revolution kind of makes it. I feel empowered here, and seeing the group of people that you guys put together, hearing Killian Vader's story on the podcast we did with MetaPuppet, is like that is opening more doors. That is giving more life to the creative industry, not taking it away. And
exactly.
I don't see how anybody could think diminished returns unless it's a selfish outlook, which I understand, as I have a family. So I understand the fear around the tools, but it's more so the fear of the unknown, I feel, as opposed to the fear of what's actually coming. So during this process, and you guys are, you're learning the whole time, you're also producing this work. So like, you're kind of learning in two different lanes. You're learning as a creative on one side using the tools, and on the other side, you're learning as a producer that's putting together a giant project. Do you feel like there's one side or the other that these tools are benefiting more than the other? Is the whole project's outline, thinking it through? Are you using AI in that, or is that traditional production skills that you're using, that you've put together projects for 20 years to bring that to life?
So the question is if there's a difference?
Yeah, just are you seeing like are you seeing as much, I guess, gain in productivity from the non-creative side as you are from the business side or the management side?
Oh yeah. I mean, I tell people, I mean, you don't have to let AI write your script. Like, you can it's really up to you. You set the boundary. You can have it as your assistant, or you can have it as as a co-writer. It's like you decide where you want to go, and I've used them all, right? So I can share one experience that I had when I created a 6 episodic educational series where I was a host, an entertainment host, and I was educating the community on like Web3 and blockchain technology, doing it in a very like Bill Nye kind of way. It's somewhere here on X. It's Professor Sway. What the tools that I used them all, but the tools that I really relied on was on Claude. And it wasn't like I didn't use Claude, and I don't think you can anyways, for image generation or anything, but I use it for like project management, as my story creator, where I use Claude's feature named projects to upload the story Bible, a script template, and all these parameters and guidelines that I wanted for the show. And I had a back and forth conversation, and where I wanted it to create, since I wasn't really the authority on the topic. I needed an AI who knows more about blockchain than me. So I collaborated along with AI to generate the scripts, and then I took it and refined it. Since I have a knack for writing and comedic timing, and since I'm the one performing it, um, that the LLM really made that process a lot easier. Versus me staring at a blank page or relying on someone else. Um, so as long as you have taste, as long as you have some sort of like training, writing training, some sort of experience, you will really find the value in using these tools in production.
Taste
You know,
seems so important now. And I keep thinking the curation, when music exploded, it really became about the DJs. And you had to have a good DJ to find the good music because there's so much endless music out there. Same today with Spotify. Most people rely, well, maybe not as much today as they did a few years ago, but you're like, how do you find new music unless there's some algorithm or a DJ giving it to you? So it's kind of like the taste has risen to the top skill set, which is very strange. So, you're talking about this and you mentioned the story Bible, and I look down and I see Winston Mayo in the audience here who made his film, The Nativity. And we recently spoke with him and he brought up some interesting thoughts around the way AI tools are being used today. And his idea is that he thinks AI tools are the next evolution of CGI and special effects as opposed to straight up film production, because you can get so much more accomplished in a quicker time with a lower budget, and the output is so much better. Like actually performing the lip sync does so much better when you have the lip movement or you're actually speaking the words, even if it's not the right voice. The timing works out better. I'm wondering if you're seeing anything in that vein. Are you seeing, and I'm not asking if you agree, do you feel like the tools are going in one way or the other, or do you feel like it's totally up to the user and they could do whatever they want with these tools? Or are you seeing one lane that has less friction than another?
I think it's a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. Sure, yeah, the tools are going to definitely disrupt this CGI and VFX world. I mean, we're seeing it now. I don't know the reason is because of AI, but when you hear the news of like Technicolor shutting down, like the
I know, it's
mill,
so crazy that Technicolor shut down.
I was like, what is going on? And this has
Right.
happened before.
Well, now we're on Warner Brothers. They're saying yesterday they said if Superman fails, Warner Brothers shuts down. 102-year-old film studio.
Yeah.
One movie.
Yeah.
You got one movie, guys.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously whatever system, whatever Hollywood is doing now hasn't worked for years.
Oh, yeah.
So they need to figure it out quick. And I wouldn't blame AI 100% for the reasons of the downfall of all these like giant studios, but
Definitely not.
It will definitely affects them. But going back to that Technicolor story, like now you have all these VFX artists and colorists and animators who have no jobs. And they have a lot of time in their hands. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to start exploring these tools and pushing the boundaries. Now we have professionals, people with taste, people with an eye, as you said, dabbling and messing around and incorporating these tools in their workflows.
Yep.
That's when we're going to start seeing now, these tools being used in
at the highest level. Yeah.
At the highest levels. It's not, us playing in a sandbox anymore.
Agreed.
So this is like why I really encourage everyone, like, find your, like, right now I see that things in this AI time era is really about finding your niche, finding your village, finding your people, and not trying to do it all, because it's easy to get lost in the sauce and like, oh, yeah, let me master LLMs and vibe coding and coding, and like let me also do like AI art and stuff. Like, you can't do it all, man. Just pick one and go all in. And because that's where we're all going now. It's not about generalization, it's about specialization now. And yeah, so what we're about to see, what we're about to witness in the next 3 months is going to be wild. At least that's my prediction.
That's our projection. So we think here at Rad, we think last year was kind of the first phase, scratch the surface of discovery. And a lot of the creators that were touching those tools were their first time having access to a high-level tool set that allowed them creativity. And the people who have traditional Hollywood knowledge or traditional widely accepted, I don't know, watched, consumed media, they are beginning to make productions or have been for the past 3 to 6 months. And I mean, we know we're watching people on the timeline now that have literally disappeared for 3 months, 5 months. And they come back and like, we've been working. And it's like, we know you have. What is it? I mean, Meta Puppet's been gone. Where you been, Meta Puppet? I ain't seen you out here. I know you've been busy though. I've seen some little posts everywhere, but I don't see as much as I did and not as much work. So I know you're cooking up something. We agree that we think this year we are going to see the first wow films of, we don't know that's AI or the production is so high quality, we don't give a shit. And we think that is coming this year. And there may be even a flood of content the last 3-4 months of this year that is very high level. Like tools were released last year, it's going to be content this year. It's going to be tools too, but we're going to be wowed by the content. Are you seeing anything right now from any of the tools that maybe they are elevated above, so like a tool that's really standing out right now to you that's just next level?
I've slowed down a bit as far as like, chasing like the latest and the greatest. But
so many.
I used to, but then you grow really tired. But just the stuff that people that have been putting out, like what Luma Ray 2 has been producing is just mind blowing. VO2, crazy. Everyone was scared. When Sora was announced, like, oh my God, it's crazy. I'm here playing with like Gen 2, which is barely does any motion. And like now we all have like practically Sora. And I just say Sora just because of like the level, the quality of AI that you can achieve now. And going back to what you were saying, is like, it's going to take time, I think, for Hollywood to add it's nothing changes. It still takes some months, for a film to come out. So, and I think they'll slowly introduce the incorporation of AI. It's like, oh, this $100 million movie, used a AI for this 3-second segment, right?
Yes.
And then it'll start small, and then before you know it, they'll have full generated scenes.
So is this? I wish Nem was here to help answer, because I feel like the music video world is just so unique and specific to this, and you probably have insight to this as well, being an actor on these types of on these projects. Are we headed to a place where, like, even today, we all know anybody's content creator is hearing Apple's making no money. They are literally sub-licensing their content, their own produced content to other outlets, other streamers, because they just want to recoup some. They know they're not making their money back. It's a lost cause. It's not. They're never getting that money back. And we're talking Masters of the Sky. Like, it's incredible level production. Are they going to have to start incorporating AI and stop running World War II planes and doing crazy CGI just to be able to be just to get past break even? Is that where the future of storytelling and filmmaking lies?
No, I don't think so. I think the future of storytelling is mastering storytelling, because like we can't go back and just focus on like the spectacle, and this goes back to what I said in the beginning of what made me lean into movies and what made me want to become a storyteller. It was really like the emotion that the storytelling produces. We need to discover like how to make that magic, right? How to produce those feelings again, versus just crazy explosion, crazy person flying, POV. It was like, that's cool that it could do that. It's a cool retweet, but it's not going to make you money. Because we go to theater, we watch a movie because I want an immersive experience.
Now, are you telling me that what leads to box office revenue is me crying or feeling a thing?
You bet.
Amen. All right. Okay. Okay.
It needs to make you cry. It needs to make you angry. It needs to make you happy. It needs to make, if it's not you, it needs to make the kids and the wife happy. So it needs to produce something.
So-
And that I go ahead.
Is the Apple problem and the Netflix problem? Are you just saying it's just not emotionally connected content? Is that the total disconnect here? Is that your perspective?
I think I have a clear answer for that, but because I really don't consume like Apple originals or Netflix originals.
Well, we don't.
But-
and that's what we're saying is we don't,
but in a
because
world-
why?
Right. In a world of so much noise and variety, I mean, it's really stories that resonate emotionally and not being talked about. I was like even the Oscars, like, yeah, sure, it's cool, but like you can only lean on cinematography and like, oh my God, this movie is independent. It was made in $5 million budget. I'm like, yeah, but we've heard that before. It's nothing new. It's like, oh, this movie was done in a small, free, open source software. Like, yeah, but it still need to make movies emotional. You still need to tell stories. You still need to walk out of the theater understanding the damn movie and not trying to like, figure out what it was about,
Yes, I do. I love this. I love that this is where you're taking this. And I think this is kind of, maybe I'm wrong, but this is like a contrarian take. You're kind of.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, it seems contrarian, but, it wasn't so. Like T2, Aliens,
Right.
E.T.
Yes.
is like, yeah, those stories are great and they're still being talked about and they have long shelf life and they're timeless because, the storytellers did their job. And what a lot of AI creators don't understand, and now it's a bit different for me, and I'm starting to understand, like, for example, now I've been focusing more on video art versus like narrative work, and I've come to understand the differences, right? Because you're really trying to get a grasp of like the contemporary art world and what does it take to have my work showcased or exhibited in a gallery. And it's not always about stories, more about emotion and interpretation, and really trying to strike a difference between, Hollywood or short film versus, a fine art piece. And that even more so, I'm starting to understand that when you making a movie, it's like it takes a lot of engineering, and storytelling is about structure. And there's a lot of people that don't want to put the work of what makes a story resonate. Like, oh, I don't want to tell a story in 3-act structures because, stories don't need to have 3 acts. I'm like, what are you talking about? We do it every time when we talk. We do it every time we have a space. We tell stories. And that's how we keep people captivated. That's how we keep people stay, in tune, in the same wavelength. And they're afraid of going there because they think it's just, storytelling is a trope, or it's just no, it's what makes a movie sell. It's what makes people gravitate to a film.
Is that laziness? Is that the next generation of like content creators that want? Is this a generation that's interested in short form content, or do you attribute that to something else?
I think it is laziness, and I also think that people are not putting the work. They don't really carry that responsibility. If I call myself an artist, a storyteller, that's a responsibility for me. I have a job every night to work on my craft, not only do the work, but also go back in time and study the greats, right? So if I might call myself a contemporary artist and not have a clue, and if I can't mention to you like one artist, or if I'm a filmmaker and I can't mention, I can't talk about people like Billy Wilder, Frank Capra, John Huston, if I'm an actor and I can't mention, like, one time I asked a friend who's a working actor, like, hey, do you know who's Humphrey Bogart? He goes, no. Like, what? You don't know who's Humphrey Bogart? Are you kidding me? So there's people like that, just using that example, there's people like that in the film space. It's like, you pick and choose because you like certain things, but sometimes you need to challenge your own taste, right? Like, I can't be just watching experimental films. I need to like expand, right? I just can't stick to like steak and potatoes. Like, I need to try a salad every now and then. I need to try like another type of meal just to
switch it up, see what's next.
Switch it up. You know?
Yeah, I think like the multidisciplinary approach is. I've read a lot of little excerpts that say like a lot often things that are figured out in other industries are people that were from an industry that was a little tangentially, correlated, and they see something from a different perspective. It's just like solves a massive problem that an industry didn't see because they were too close to it. And I think you do have to be trying new things and seeing what's there for you. With this in mind, I would love to know what your opinions are at the moment on like short form versus long form content with these new mediums. And I know you're making quite a bit of short form content. I love what you're making. I think the egg aesthetic that you're doing is so you. And like, it feels like it's just so you, and it's like it's your art and nobody else is doing it. There's nothing even close. The only thing that's even like in the world is, I would say, like Nice Aunties is close to the energy, but like it's very unique. And it looks like you are really embracing short form content. Is it not what you're interested in because of the storytelling nature, or is it just what you're doing for fun in a moment of creativity and not a long form project?
Well, for the kind of work I've been producing, and I thank you for those comments. Yeah,
You're awesome, Sway. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. What really helps is really understanding why you do things, right? I mean, I like experimenting, as much as like many of the people that are in this call. I like testing tools, and I love posting anything that I find funny. But there's some things that I don't post that I treasure and hold until like a special release, because I believe that the specific clip or piece really complements the reason why I create. And as a creator, we talked about how a storyteller should be responsible. It's a job, but a storyteller also needs to understand not only the definition of story. If you're a storyteller, what's a story, right? It's a sequence of events leading to a conclusion, right? But now you need to ask yourself, like, why am I telling stories? Like, what about you? Why you? Why should I listen to your story, Sway? What about you makes you so different in this loud and crazy, noisy world on social media? Well, then I have to figure that out. And the reason why is because I like to find the hidden truths in the everyday absurdity of life. And now that I have an understanding of that, I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm not just willy-nilly experimenting, one day is a horse, one day is an egg, another day is like it's a French toast. Like, no. I was like, now I'm being very specific what of the things that I'm creating. And a lot comes into play as well, right? How I'm feeling, what I went through, any trauma, maybe how my day went, maybe I stubbed my toe, maybe I'm having a bad experience with my kids, my wife, or maybe I'm having a great day. All that comes to play when it comes to art, or I have like this burning message to share with the world.
Amen.
And it's one day today, it could be another thing, next year.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to contemporary art, you're not limited, by narrative, the story narratives. So you're just a lot more open, a lot more experimental, abstract, and that's kind of the world that I lean into. But as a filmmaker, I throw that away and I totally respect it for what it is. Like, this needs structure. This needs, if I'm going to tell a story, I want to make sure at the end of this film, you understand what the hell I'm trying to say, versus what's your interpretation? This is open.
Still trying to figure out Inception. I love Interstellar, but I don't know. It's like, it's cool, but I mean, like, we can run it backwards if you want. I mean, cool. I mean, Tenet was cool. I don't know. So, what are you working on right now, Sway? What's next on your project list?
So really heads down, working on my next collection. So really been on an experimental phase. So you mentioned eggs. I have some my recent collection that's sold on Ape Chain.
Eggs are selling really high right now. Your market's good.
High, and this egg was pretty high. And
let's go.
Thankfully, I had a very supportive group of collectors and friends that picked up these sunny side apes, and it was kind of like a hat tip and a nod to the bored apes. So
Amen.
Really, with my contemporary art, I'm like bouncing around between degen art and and contemporary fine art, art in the blockchain, and this past year I got curated by the Fellowship's Daily XYZ, so I had an opportunity to sell a couple of pieces with them, and that to me was like a whole experience. And those pieces, which is called the Yoki Universe Overture, those pieces were very unique, abstract, surreal, more surreal than anything, and where I'm using AI tools and I'm doing AI videos and really pushing the technology. And at the time, I don't think Gen 3 was out yet. I'm not too sure. So this was a couple of months ago. And there, in those pieces, there is some sort of like messaging and storytelling. So I don't think this is something I could stray away from, because naturally, I'm a storyteller. But yeah, like contemporary art has been my thing, keeping my heads down, really trying to do some more physical stuff, starting to experiment with some like clay sculptures, and hopefully in the future I can do some video art installations. And that's kind of the world that I'm dabbling now. I'm also working, which hasn't been announced yet, so you guys are getting like a little bit of alpha. I'm working with a small studio of experienced directors and animators coming from the world of Pixar and ILM, and we're working on actual film, a short film, starting with a short film, building up to a feature film.
Let's
and I think
go,
I said too much. I said too much. So working with that, and yeah, just
let's go. That's amazing. I'm so excited about that. That makes the whole space. I'm so excited.
Yeah, which is why I can confidently say all these guys that are not in like DreamWorks and Pixar, ILM are getting fired left and right. Brace yourself, lean into the craft, find what makes you, and from the technological aspect, get good at it. And just put work out there,
Let's go. What was your experience like with Ape Chain? I saw that you had a couple sales over there and had some success. What was your experience?
It was great. So I think it was, oh man, are they here?
No, there's no. Well, we have several in our community, and we're actually in talks with Ape Chain right now to integrate Ape Chain into Rad TV.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's fun to hear. Yeah. We'd love to explore some of that. It was fun. I got featured in Magic Eden, and I got the opportunity. So when I went public with my work, it was nice to see my work there on the main website.
Such a beautiful website. Yeah, I love Magic Eden.
And sadly, though, there was like some hiccup during the, public minting, and that kind of like, how it is in the DJ space. And like, I had a bunch of collectors and people just like massively put out, hey, Sway's work is up, and that kind of like destroyed the momentum. So I don't know who to blame, but these kind of things happen. Possibly you might work on another piece to either put on Ape Chain, also looking at Arbitrum.
Yep.
And yeah, right now it's not a good time to put anything out in the market.
So I've been here. I brought my first Bitcoin in 2012, long time crypto, and I don't. There's no such thing as a bear market. You either think we're still early, or you don't get it. Like that's how we have a long way to go. It took a long time to build railroads. And so I want to ask you a little bit about your distribution process and what your thoughts are when you're going to distribute. I know you're experimenting on chain. You're on multiple different sites. You're selling things on different chains. You just mentioned several different chains. What are you considering right now when you go to distribute a product, a project, a collection? What is your first thought when you go to distribute or monetize? What are you really looking for? What's the most important aspect to you?
I think like anything, marketing is important. Building the buzz and the hype, and figuring out a way of how to serve my collectors, right? So it's a lot of work, right? So reaching out to them, making sure they're part of the white list, and making sure that they have they have access to my pieces early before anyone else. Have any collectors and artists really support the launch. And so most of these efforts are done by me alone. Like I'm mostly like a Ronin in this space. And it's been really, honestly, I've been lucky. It's been through my heavy involvement and not so heavy involvement, but my somewhat involvement in Web3 that's really helped out. So the project that I was in before, I was an artist in residence / creative director for an AI company that was like heavily into Web3, and that really expanded my network, and so I think I have somewhat of a connect or understanding. Really, it's more of understanding how the Web3 community operates in order to have a successful launch more than anything, right? So yeah, building a website helps. Really explaining why this project exists. Talk about the traits and collections, and have your FAQs ready, and where it's launching, what's going to happen. How to join the whitelist, what time this thing is going to go public. There's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's easy. It's a lot easier when you're being curated and you're letting a curator handle everything. Which when my work was on auction through Daily, that was just kind of like a breeze. All I had to do was submit a couple of audio interviews or audio explanations, or more like audio like diaries of my pieces, and yeah, they did most of that. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does, absolutely. I kind of just want to have a conversation about this, that you're opening the door, so thank you. No, it's perfect. So when you are going to distribute right now, I see I'm on your website, and you're on Foundation, you're on Daily, you're posting to X, you've got a channel on Rad, you're on YouTube, I think. What's leading you to post any one thing somewhere? Are you thinking to yourself, this would do best here? Are you putting things everywhere? What's your go-to share process at the moment? Of course, it depends on monetization, but what's
well, I don't monetize from living on these social networks. X is my default platform. I really enjoy it. Even when I decide not to like really consume any social media, X is always a place where I end up going to. IG is more like the spot to talk with friends via DMs and watch funny videos, and that's about it. I've played this game for such a long time, to the point where you're kind of like done. I was like, okay, I'm just relying on this one platform. I'm just the guy who's going to be posting work that I love, and post the work that I believe is either has a humor that reflects who I am, or it's set in a quality where that I'm happy with. Really, the big decision really is like, what do I hold back? Not every single work that I post online, because I don't consider myself a content creator. I don't consider myself an influencer. I just consider myself an artist who's actively online. But really, the challenge is, okay, what's going to be work? What's going to be part of a collection? What am I going to sell? But what's just going to be fully experimental, or what's just going to live on on X just because? So it's a striking balance between community and just staying relevant and playing the game. Honestly, it's just playing the game. And when I do come across something like, okay, I'm gonna take this collection very serious, I'm going on X chain, then I'm doing more of a like a campaign, sort of like a personal campaign, where I'm on your feed 1 hour, 2 hours a day,
really trying to make sure you're seen. Yeah,
exactly. So and it's a hit or miss, right? Because the algorithm always changes. One day X is like, yeah, you can use one hashtag, two hashtags. Now you can't tag anyone. You can't use a hashtag. So it's like you're always trying to figure it out and live on the DMs.
Right. So shout out the AI Art Today crew. We're going to ask our question that we ask everybody now, because I love it. Are you nice to your AI? Do you treat your AI right?
AI to me is like my therapist. So it's like, so I have to treat it nice. I have been playing with Grok, and I do set the voice, since I got access to the voice feature, and do sense it. What is it, like they're unfiltered or whatever? Like, yeah, so it's cursed me out. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I rather it stay my therapist, like help me figure out like who I am in this world. One of my favorite things to ask AI is like based off, especially Grok, like based off of everything that I've been posting. What jazz artists can you relate me with, and or what musician or what actor or whatnot. And to use the example of the jazz artist, like, oh yeah, you're more like Charles Mingus. I'm like, and then what I do is like, oh cool, thanks, why? And then it gives me an explanation why, and then I'll go ahead and put a playlist of Charles Mingus, and I just listen to it all day.
Amen.
So
So are you afraid of AI? Are we headed to Skynet, or is AI gonna give us a technological utopia with all diseases cured and longevity, healthy lives? What's your outlook and what's your time
nah,
frame?
man. You know what the answer would be. I'm not afraid of AI, but I would say this: we do need more stories. It's kind of like the news, right? We need more good news. Um, we need more good news of like how AI. It's like I don't want to hear how faster I can be with AI. I don't want to hear like how AI could take over my computer or what it does or what it says. It's like I want to hear news about AI literally changing people's lives, and I think that's what we need, and I think it can. But we're in a stage again. It's like, and I get it, artists, creators, we're all about like egos and me, 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 me. I'm like that too sometimes. But more than problem solving, like, is it changing lives? And if so, let's like put that out there, to put AI in a positive light.
We're doing it right here, King. You're doing it. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
this is started a year ago, and I know we're getting close to our 2 hour mark, and we'll wrap up soon. I just want to give you more flowers, Sway. I really can't say enough about our first real dive into like, let's see what AI creators are doing. And we started poking around and we started following people. And this is, I guess, end of 2023. And then we connect with you guys in early 24 and your guys' creative community. And it has absolutely changed my life. It has changed the trajectory of Rad. I know it has changed. I talk to creators all week. It's what I do every day. And I know that T2 has had such a massive impact that there is no way that you guys have heard this enough. Even if you have heard it a lot, you have not heard it enough for the impact that it has had on creators and their connection to the space. And I think that small cultural global phenomenon that you all brought together of 50 creators really planted a seed that it's very rare that this happens, and a cultural growth begins with such positivity and such connectivity. And I think, this, we are doing it. We're telling the good news about AI right here, right now, and you're leading the charge, King.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, much credit to Nem and the whole team involved. I see Tony here in the space, and
Yep.
he was part of it too. And
Yep.
it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's what really is just getting to know everyone. Maybe perhaps not intimately, but beyond the X post. It's that was fun. That was nice. That was good to know that behind these creations are actual humans. We're just like me, just living in a
Amen.
demographically in a different place.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Everyone, we have been talking to Sway Molina. He and his co-director, producer on the T2 remake, Nem Perez, released the Our T2 remake about 1 year ago. It is pinned at the top of this X space. It is on our feed on X, on the Rad TV feed. It is on the Our T2 feed. If you go to radtv.com right now, you can watch it ad-free and its highest quality with one click. It's in the feature banner. You don't need an account. You don't need anything. You can go watch it right now. It has been an absolutely amazing conversation. And anyone who is listening to this, I really, truly hope you feel some inspiration. I'm inspired just from hearing the energy and the collaboration and what's possible right now. It's insane to just think about where we are as a species, and that we're on this weird app connecting with people. Like, I have relationships with people in this space, like it's really weird that we're so connected but disconnected. And you mentioned like just getting over the first the X post. I encourage anyone listening, reach out to these people, make connections, DM people, start a conversation. Go through, we just retweeted the post that they made on the RT2 account that has all of the creators. Just go follow them all right now.
Yeah.
Go follow them all right now and go send them a DM. Don't say hi and nothing else. Say hi and tell them your name and tell them why you're reaching out. Start a conversation. Just saying hi or whatever, I'm sending you straight to jail. I'm sending you to the spam. I do it to everyone. If you send me a dumb DM, get out of here. I need to know information. No hi, no hey, no I need you. Send a real, not from Rad, of course, from my personal. But this is so, it's really, I've been looking forward to talk to you guys for a year. I know you guys were really busy with the T2 stuff last year, and I tried to get you guys on. It is awesome to see where you are a year later. I can't say congratulations enough, but again, I'll tell you the same thing I told Blacklight a couple weeks ago as he was going viral a week ago, TikTok, going viral on TikTok. I'll say congratulations, but you didn't win anything, King. You really just showed up, did the work, gave the community great energy, and are putting out products and experiences and art that we love. And that's it. That's what we need. That's the light. That's the positive news. That's the good news. And thank you for showing up the way you do, King Sway. We have Sway here with us, his co-director, Nem Perez. You can follow Nem Perez everywhere, NEMPEREZ. You can go to nemperez.com, Nem Perez on X, Nem Perez on IG, Nem Perez on TikTok. Same for Sway, I think, everywhere. But Sway, Go ahead, tell us where people can find you, how you would like to connect with people, and anything else you would like to plug.
Yeah, you can find me here, Sway Molina. Somewhat active on Instagram, Sway Molina. And just if you need any help with anything, I mean, just to what Cameron was saying, I got here because I was curious. I reached out to them. I was like, hey, what's Midjourney? And the rest was history, and I think the same can happen with you. So,
amen. Sway, you're super inspirational. You have amazing energy. I look forward to talking to you again in the near future. The next time you have a collection drop-in or a project drop-in, please reach out. We'd love to host a space with you and learn about what you're doing, and even have a whole dedicated space. I'd love to learn more about your background, your adolescence in Florida and Miami, to find out the creator you've become. Today was a great start, and I can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for being so authentic and transparent. You are doing the good news. You're bringing the good word, King. Thank you for showing up.
thanks, man.
Everyone, go check out Nem and Sway. Follow them, connect with them. Follow everyone in this space. The Rad TV community is unbelievable. The AI community is unbelievable. I'll keep saying it. I don't get tired of saying it. It is really the best community. I've been on X since 2008. It's the only social media I've ever used. This is the most kind, caring, inclusive, best energy, most talented community I've ever been a part of. And I'm very grateful to be here. Again, Sway, thank you for your time. Go to swaymolina.com, follow Sway, check out T2. Everyone that listened today, thank you very much for showing up. Go to radtv.com. You can start your free account today, start monetizing, start distributing. Our DMs are open if you have any questions. If you want to get started with something, reach out to Sway. I'm sure he will be happy to speak with you and kind of guide you on your journey. So take that first step, creators. Get out there, connect with somebody. There's no better time to start than now. King Sway, have a wonderful rest of your week. Nem, whenever you listen to this, King, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining us. Everyone that tuned in, thank you. Have a great day. Signing off, another episode of NFTV. You guys will find this episode live on Rad later today, and we'll get some clips up everywhere over the next several days. King, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Rad.
Have a good day, everyone.
Rad, you're on the team. Say goodbye to the old school way. One time buy and it's here to stay. Build your brand, make your move. With .rad you set the mode. Make it .rad, own your name. No more renting, no more games. Creators, dreamers, make your mark. Your digital world, ignite the spark. Make it bold, make it last. The future's here, it's coming fast. .rad is yours, so claim it now. No looking back, let's show them how. Unstoppable domains, leading the way. One time buy, no need to pay. Your name, your brand, forever yours. With .rad, unlock the doors. Libraries growing, don't stand still. Build your future, shape your will. Rad TV, unstoppable domains. .rad is made for you. Make it .rad, own your name. No more renting, no more games. For the dreamers, builders, and stars. Your name's forever, no battle scars. So stand out.